Hello everybody. So this is my first process video to share with you how I do my intuitive and healing painting practice. So you can see, just sideways, because basically you don't really need to know what I'm writing or exactly and everything, because the point is for you to do your own way, use your own words, use your own colors, use your own symbols and shapes and paints and everything. So here I have started writing down some words that I need to write down. This video has been filmed last week, something like that, and I have been having health issues, so this has prompted me to go back to a more more present and more connection to my body, to the source, to my guides. So this is what I'm doing. I have a candle, which is my connection to the light and to my guides. I have a feather that symbolizes taking distance from experiences and traumas and lightness and stuff like that. I have two stones that I have found on one of my walks on the beach nearby, and they have been calling me, these two stones, to stay with me. So that is what I'm doing. And now I'm writing, my intentions, my prayers, my questions. That I want to understand maybe the paint, why, what is the message, what I can learn from it, what I can do to get release. What is my body trying to tell me, stuff like that. So I'm writing everything down, everything what I feel like, my everything. And then sometimes I pause, sometimes I put my hands on the paper to feel or to give energy or to get, or whatever feels right. As you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day, so I always like it, and it's also quite nice to play with the light and the shadow with the paper, and then you see things differently. So now I'm going to apply color, and how I do that is always just looking at my basket of paints, and I always feel called by one color after another. And this is one of the first messages that I'm getting from what I've written, what I felt, what I've connected with, and messages. I am proud of what I have accomplished so far. So I think it's a message that I do have health issues at the moment, but no matter what, I have come a long way the last few years in terms of being more present to what is happening in my life. I know that the connection to my body is the last, I don't know if it's the last step, but it's I have been more connected to spirit, to in my thought process to my feelings, my heart, but my body has always been maybe the last to come. Maybe because I have had some pains before, and my my survival or whatever was to just ignore it, which I know it's not the right answer, but sometimes that's just what you have to do to be able to move on. You can't tackle everything, you can't do everything at once, and when the pain stops, then it's easier to say, okay, then it's over and I can do something else. And unfortunately, that is maybe not the right thing to do sometimes, because then the pain comes back, because the message hasn't been listened or registered or whatever. So this is how it feels. But for now, for the exercise I'm doing, the practice, I'm focusing on what I've done so far, and that it's already a big deal. And now the second message that comes to me is I am proud of what I'm going to accomplish in the future. So it's also a great, great, great message. I loved it. I loved it because it's acknowledging what I've done, but it's also sort of preparing me to embrace the changes that I am dreading in a way. I know that I have lots of projects that I want to do, but I can't seem to unblock myself in a way. So this message is sort of helping me to do that, to already be proud of what I'm going to do. And it's funny because I did this painting, as I said, something like last week, a few days, like maybe 10 days ago or something. And lately I've been listening to Joe Dispenza, and one of his methods is to visualize and really feel the future, what you want to accomplish, what you want to do, to feel the joy of having done what you want to do, having reached your dreams and everything. And basically this message was already telling me what I'm listening to now from Joe Dispenza is, visualizing the future and already sort of preparing the way for the future by visualizing. And I mean, there are all these scientific tests and reasoning that tells you that an ego or whatever part of you doesn't know the difference between what is the reality and what you visualize or something like that. I can't really tell you, but I think it's Joe Dispenza as well that sort of explains it all really much better. But so I'm quite surprised to see that in this video. I had completely forgotten this message. So now I have written some other words in the same vein, and now I have been sort of called or felt that I needed to use my gold ink, and so I'm using it to create a background, a dark blue and gold background. And sometimes it's a way to sort of infuse all the words in the underlayer, and then a new layer is happening, and this is what you're seeing right now. I'm scraping the word proud onto the white paint with the back of my brush. This is something that I do a lot. I always use quite a lot of paint, so it takes a while to dry, and then I scrape either words or symbols or shapes or just lines and squiggles. Here I'm using the white to paint the letters even better. And also I am very proud of myself because I had seen a video on how to use the last bit of paint from your receptacle. Anyway, I don't know what's the name, the name in tube, I think, yeah, a tube. And you can just cut it with the scissors, sort of halfway, and then you can sort of put it one on top of the other, and you sort of close it, and you can access all the paint that you cannot access by just squeezing it. At some point you can't squeeze it any longer, but there is still some paint from it. And I had seen a video on it somewhere, and I didn't really do it. I don't know if because I didn't believe it or because I didn't think there was that much paint, but I have seen that there is quite a lot of paint because they are quite big tubes. And so this is what you see, this because you can see more these half sort of tubes with all this paint. And I've been using this left over for quite a while now, so I'm quite happy to have found a way to save and not waste paint. So I've been painting the word proud with this white paint, because the paint, of course, underneath is still wet. It's mixing, so it's now sort of light blue. And now I have felt called to use another paint. So this is my gold paint, and because I'm using two different brands of paint, I have my cheap gold paint that is very liquid, so it's not really it's not very nice to use because it's just too watery. And then I found in another shop, slightly more expensive but not too expensive, another gold paint, and this one is it's very very heavy. So by mixing both of them, then I get the perfect consistency. So that is why I'm using this canvas, but it's more like a cardboard canvas as a palette. And I also like doing that because then you get also a funny different layers of paints and different colors, and maybe one day this will make also a nice canvas to look at, but at the moment it's my palette. And so I'm painting the word proud again, framing it. And this is what I do also quite often when I end up writing a word or words. I take some time to paint over and over around the letters to give them sort of 3D, so that we can see them. I like to put some dark shades and some white shades to make them more less flat. Now here we go, we have some white, I think it's black, yeah, that's the black paint, so that's what I was telling you. So you can see that I wasn't really paying attention to the video, because now you have a good view of my painting tube, but that's the learning. So now I'm putting black paint all over around the letters, and you can already see that it's making the gold letters really stand out. I'm not really sure. Stand out. You can see that it gives depth to the letters. I love it. And I also clean my paintbrush on the paper as well. Sometimes I use a different paper, sometimes I just wash it on the water and the cloth, and sometimes I just clean it on the paper, depending on how I feel. And now I'm taking the white again. So this is what I do. So white, then black, then maybe white again, different layers, so that to give volume to the letter. And I think it's also a way of sort of meditative way of really infusing the words, the message, that it continues to do a bit like a mantra, when you're doing a mantra and you repeat the word and the word instead, and just by painting it, by seeing it, then it also, works like a mantra. So now I'm putting this white paint inside to also give more volume, and cleaning my paintbrush again. And now I'm wondering what color I'm going to use next. And of course, when you're painting on different parts of the paper, that means that the other side, is drying. So it's also another way to get some wet part of your paint or your canvas or your paper to dry while you're doing something else. That's also a good way to do it, other than using a hair dryer or something like that, or just letting it dry in the sun if you have the patience. I don't, so that's why I always do it like that, with or without much success, but that's my way. And all this this whole process is going to take something like 20 minutes, so it's still quite quick, as a way, as sort of practice to work on some issues, to put down what is troubling you, things like that. So now I have made an orange. I have mixed my yellow and red paint on my palette, and I am decided to put orange around the letters. So orange for me is means fire, passion, and so it sounds quite appropriate, of course, with the fact that I'm sort of celebrating, being proud of what I'm doing, what I've done, and what I'm going to do. So yes, and I love using a lot of paint. As you can see, it's so yummy, all this gorgeousness and all this beautiful thick paint, glistening. It's also very enjoyable, a bit like when you're doing ceramics or whatever, just putting your hand on something. This is also a very physical feeling, for me, to paint, to use a lot of paint with this, its difficulties, because of course when you use a lot of paint, then it doesn't dry as fast, then it mixes with the other colors. Sometimes you don't get the result that you want, but that's part of the whole process of this beautiful practice of intuitive and healing painting, is that everything you do has sort of message, has a teaching, and one of the things that you are learning is to let go of any sort of product idea. You don't do that to make something beautiful or to sell it or whatever. You just do it for yourself, to heal yourself, as someone would just do some writing, someone would do walking, meditation, yoga, whatever. This is another way to connect to your higher self, to your guides, to the universe, and heal. So now I'm cleaning my brush on another page because there is too much orange, and I don't want to, and there is no more space in my paper to scrape it. And so it looks like I have finished. So that is when I snuff the candle. That is when I finish. I thank my guides, everybody who has been helping me. Here I am putting my hands on the painting to give energy to the painting, so that afterwards I can put my journal somewhere around me, so that I can still look at it for the next day or so, so that the message can still resonate with me and work with me and everything. So I hope you liked it, and I see you later.